Etsy shop owner and you just don't know how to be arranging your finances and whether to pay yourself, whether to not, this video is for you, because I'm going to be going through exactly how I arrange my finances as a full-time Etsy shop owner. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am in my comfy hoodie because it's really freaking cold and I don't know why. It's supposed to be March and it's cold and I don't like it. So anyway, we're going to be talking about finances and how I specifically arrange my finances as an Etsy shop owner. Now, full disclosure, I am an Excel spreadsheet nerd. I love spreadsheets. So my finances are done on a spreadsheet. So if you would like to follow along on Excel or something like that, then by all means do. I'm not going to be doing a screencast. I'm just going to be talking to you as if we were sat there having a cup of tea or coffee, because funnily enough, the Disneyland Paris mug is out. We have a cup of tea, so we're going to be talking as if I was chatting to you in a coffee shop, because I feel like sometimes that's a little bit easier than me just going through looking on a spreadsheet. So, Etsy shop finances. The bare bones of it is that you need to have your bills accounts, how much you need to pay your rent, your utilities, your gas, electric, food, all of that type of thing. The bare basics that you need to live and exist in the current lifestyle that you are now. That isn't clothes shopping, makeup shopping, nothing like that. This is just the bare bones you need to survive. The next part is to go out and have fun. That's your food out, your drinks, your cinema tickets, bowling, things like that. Put that in another category. The last category is your savings, is what you're saving for, long term, short term, how much a week, a month, a day you need to put aside. So those are the three categories of expenses that you have. Now, I often find it easier to work backwards because, especially at the beginning, you're not really sure what you need to be earning. So the first thing I like to do, if you're not sure what you need to be earning every single month to, live on your Etsy wage, then I would go through it, write down your expenses, so your food out, things like that, travel costs, your mortgage, your bills, all that wonderful stuff you need to, live in the house that you are in now. And then I would write down what you would like to save for long term and short term, and then see what that comes to every single month. And you might actually be a bit shocked. You might actually write that down and think, wow, that is a lot that I need to live off of. But don't be scared, because we will go through and we will kind of slim out any of the things that you are spending that you really don't need to be. So the first thing I like to do is to make sure that you know what your must-haves are. And these are things like your mortgage, your rent, your electric, gas, water, sewerage, council tax, phone, internet, home insurance, your base food, vehicle fuel, MOT tax, service and payments. I'm just looking over here because I'm just looking at the budget template that I have. Those are all the costs that you need. Now, the first thing you need to do is decide as well whether you will be paying yourself weekly or monthly. I pay myself weekly purely because I just find it easier to break it down, and you don't have that mass amount of money coming in once a month. You spend it up and then you have nothing left for the rest of the month. So I have personally become a lot better at budgeting when I've been paying myself every single week. So you want to make sure that you know how much per month, per week and per year that they all total to. So how much does your mortgage / rent cost every single month, every single year and every single week? You need to know that in order to budget correctly, in order to, get an accurate representation of how much this is actually costing you. The next thing I will do is I will go through my personal expenses. So that is things like socialization, food out, clothing, beauty, mobile phone, contract, public transport, anything basically that you spend. So any sort of little treats that you buy yourself, any chocolate bars that you buy on the way home from work, when you treat yourself to a nice lunch out, dinner, bowling, things like that. I just tend to put it down as food out and socialization, just because I don't want to categorize it within an inch of its life. So that is the personal expenses section and the kind of things that you should be looking at. The next section is savings. Now, this needs to be long-term savings goals and short-term savings goals. So for example, it can be a holiday, an investment, or a new car or something like that. You need to make sure that, again, you break that down into weekly, monthly and yearly and how much you want to save. Now, when it comes to my Etsy shop wage, I will tend to average out what I earn over the course of the year, what profit I get from my Etsy shop throughout the course of the year. I then average it out and I work out what my business expenses are, so how much it costs to run my business. That can be marketing, it can be supplies, it can be Etsy shop ads and how much they charge me, it can be subscriptions, anything that you need to run your business you need to know before you're doing your budget, because obviously it's all well and good saying I earn this much from Etsy, sure, but all of that is not yours. You need to be saving up for your taxes and your subscriptions and your marketing and your supplies and all of those types of things. So again, make a separate little spreadsheet and make sure that you work all of those out first. So at this point, we should have a bare bones of what we want our budget to look like. If you're working backwards, so you're putting in how much you want to spend, you want to earn, you want to be paid every single week, month and year, then you should have a figure at the end of that, and that will tell you how much theoretically you want to be paid to live that kind of lifestyle. Now, after averaging out what I earn on Etsy and taking out my expenses, I then average it out over the course of the year, because as you know, Christmas, your earnings go up. The summer, they tend to go down, and you want to average that out throughout the entire year. So I pay myself the same every single week, regardless of if my business makes more or not. That's just how I like to work it, and it has worked for me so well, because I've never been short of money. I've never been, oh, you know, this isn't good, I can't afford to buy boxes, I can't afford to carry on with that marketing thing that I was doing, I can't afford Etsy ads, things like that, because I average it out through the course of the year. I also like to underdo it slightly. So I like to make sure that I always have a little bit of wiggle room. Now, if you've done this, for example, and it comes back at £2,000 a month that you are able to pay yourself, I would go in at around £1,700 a month, £1,800 a month, and stick at that, because it does allow you that little bit of buffer, and like it should allow you that extra little bit of wiggle room just in case you need it to pay for bigger business expenses. And that's sort of how I've operated basically since I went full-time with my business. Now, you may have added all of the expenses and personal costs and savings costs and looked at the total and seen a little bit of a difference between that and what you earn from your Etsy shop. And that's fine. We can all dream. We can all say we want to spend £500 a month on food out and clothes and shoes and things like that. However, the way that I have done it is that I make sure that my savings pots are those that are prioritised over my personal expenses. Mainly because I am a saver. I don't tend to like to spend a lot of money on myself, purely because I just feel like it's just being wasted on stuff that, you know, won't ever bring me any happiness. And that is another big thing with this, is that you need to know what you love to spend your money on. Is it coffees out? Is it meals out? Is it experiences? All of those things are things that I actually like to spend my money on, so you won't see me ever spending a lot of money on clothes and shoes and things like that. Makeup, I'm pretty happy with what I've got. You have to really kind of be very self-aware when it comes to your spending habits, especially when you go full-time self-employed through your Etsy shop, which I hope you will. And, you know, if you're watching these videos and really getting to grips with Etsy as a whole, then I'm sure you will be. So all in all, do you need that new car? Do you need to spend £20 a day on lunches out and food out? Do you need new shoes? Do you need that designer bag? All of these things are things that are personal to you. I can't tell you what you need to spend your money on and what you don't need to spend your money on. But all in all, you need to make sure that what you spend your money on brings you joy. A really fantastic exercise that I have done that, to be honest with you, changed my perspective on my budgets and things like that, is that I actually went through my main personal account, so not my business account because that is separate, my personal account and I went through and I categorized all of my costs and what I spent. And you'd be surprised because a lot of it I couldn't even remember. I couldn't remember why I spent £15 in boots. I could not remember what that sandwich from Prep tasted like 3 weeks ago. But I did remember and I did find joy from that fancy restaurant meal that me and Ash went to. I do remember going bowling with my friends and getting a few drinks in. So it's all of those things that you need to be very, very aware as to how you spend your money. And to be honest, when you do this exercise, you will learn a lot about yourself and what you actually find joy in. Because for me, I used to buy clothes and shoes and handbags and makeup all the time, until I did this exercise and actually found out that that's not actually what I enjoy spending money on. I rather would do experiences, food out and coffees out and things like that. And once you've done that, you will look at your budget that you've done and you will start to adjust things to fit in with your new Etsy wage. Now, if your wage is part-time, that is absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with that. The fact is that your numbers will look a little bit different. So you will have money coming in from your wages, from your part-time job and your Etsy shop and any other sources of income that you have. And that will bring you a monthly total or weekly total and yearly total as well. So don't ever worry if your numbers look different. The point is that we need to work out what our lifestyle is costing us right now and make adjustments to go towards joy, to go towards excitement and happiness, not to be buying things that don't bring us joy. Now also, my bank accounts, the way I arrange my bank accounts is insane. It's insane, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So I bank online a lot of the time. I don't ever do in branch banking because I can't be bothered, to be honest. But I have about 12 different bank accounts all through my one main bank, okay? I have a separate bank for my business because I want that completely out of my eye line. I have about 12 different bank accounts and that is all for these pots. So I have a pot for holidays. I have a pot for my investment property. I have a bank account for any savings goals that I have. I have an account for food out. I have an account for socialization. I have an account for all of these different things purely because it works the same way as when I was a kid. And well, not really a kid, but when I was younger, I didn't have 12 different bank accounts. I used to get little envelopes and I used to withdraw the cash and put it in each individual envelopes. And that to me, that just worked really, really well because it meant that money was always put aside. And I have a rule that I never dive into any of the pots. And I have things like, I have an emergency account and I have a curveball account. Both accounts are used for if things go wrong. For example, if the clutch went on the car, it's something that I can dip into for situations like that. So you can see that by doing a budget like this, it really just enables you to kind of preemptive strike on anything that life throws at you. Because believe me, it does happen when money is tight, you get all the things thrown at you. And I must say, doing my budgeting and my banking in this particular way has enabled me not really to feel like that many times in my life. So I hope that this will help you too and give you kind of an insight as to how I manage my finances and my money and things like that that's coming in from Etsy and my other income sources as well. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to join the Facebook group as well and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this on handmade businesses and Etsy. So guys, I shall see you in the next video. Bye!